In 1492, European explorers arrived in the Americas, forever changing the course of history. At first, many Native American tribes welcomed the newcomers. They traded food, furs, and knowledge of the land in exchange for metal tools, weapons, and other goods. For a brief time, cooperation seemed possible, but as more settlers crossed the Atlantic, their hunger for land grew, colonies expanded, forests disappeared, and native communities found themselves pushed farther from their ancestral homes. Agreements were made through treaties, promising peace and protection. Yet many of those promises were broken as settlers continued moving west. By the early 1800s, the United States embraced the idea of westward expansion. Under the belief that the nation was destined to stretch from coast to coast, thousands of native families were forced from their homes. The most tragic example was the Trail of Tears, when the Cherokee and other southeastern tribes were removed from their lands and marched hundreds of miles west. Thousands died from hunger, disease, and exhaustion before reaching their new territory. Conflict continued across the Great Plains. Tribes such as the Lakota, Cheyenne, Comanche, and Apache fought fiercely to defend their land, their families, and their way of life. The U.S. Army responded with a series of military campaigns that became known as the Plains Wars. Battles such as Little Bighorn brought stunning native victories, while later conflicts ended in devastating losses for indigenous nations. As railroads expanded and buffalo herds disappeared, native resistance became increasingly difficult. By the late 1800s, most native nations had been forced onto reservations. Their centuries-long struggle to protect their homeland had come at an enormous cost. Yet despite war, displacement, and broken promises, indigenous peoples preserved their cultures, traditions, and identity, an enduring legacy that continues to this day.